Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera, and for this week's episode, Megan and I are going to be diving into a new subreddit, one that actually one of you recommended. It is the AmIOVerreacting subreddit.
I think this is going to be a good one, or just interesting to say the least.
Yeah. I love talking about other people's drama and personal situations that I have no stake in, that I would like to provide opinions on.
So we have each prepared, or we've picked 7 different situations that we'll be discussing if we get around to all of them. But before we do that, we of course like to do our weekly spotlights and our reading updates. So we will get started with that first.
I don't think I have a reading update. I think that I was reading The Gilded Cage last week, and I'm still reading it.
I do have a reading update. I finished reading... Don't even ask me because I have to look at my Goodreads.
It's
Metal
crazy
Slinger. How I got to it before.
Fast. Your mind just it completely slips from your mind.
So I read Metal Slinger. It is by Rachel Schneider, and I read it because it had pretty good ratings. It's got a 4.29 out of 40,000 ratings, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, and it seemed like a pretty classic romantic type of storyline. I did enjoy it. I wouldn't say it was slow to get into because I really was enjoying it the whole time that I was reading it, but I just felt like the kind of first part of the book, plot-wise, it was kind of there really hasn't been that much going on, but then it picked up a little bit more later on in the book. The second, the last couple chapters, there was a plot twist that I really was not expecting, which I always appreciate in a book. I still give it 4 out of 5 stars, and the second book is not out. I don't even think it has a release date technically. But I will add that on my TBR once I figure out when it's coming out, because I enjoyed it. If you're a romantic reader, I would add it to your TBR, especially if you have Kindle Unlimited. It's already on there.
I'm currently a little bit less than halfway through The Gilded Cage, and it's good, but I feel like nothing's happening right now, and so I'm
That's the one I gave 4.5 stars, I think, too.
So,
or did I give it 5 stars?
There's no way you gave it 5 stars.
I just looked recently and I can't remember. Probably 4.5.
So I mean, I'm curious to see what what gave you the extra bump, because I feel I've read 200 pages and I feel like nothing's happened. So
I gave it 4.5. And then I'm currently reading Things We Leave Unfinished, or The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros, and I am a little over 100 pages into it now. I will say, when I was first reading it, it was kind of giving me beach read vibes a little bit, because Ciera says...
That's high praise.
Well, I will have to... Not so much anymore, because it's actually jumping back and forth between, current timeline, but the male main character in present day, he's an author, and so, just in that sense, they're trying to work on finishing her grandma's book together, so just in that sense, it was kind of giving me, the same setup as beach read a little bit, but then in, a lot of the book is also jumping back to the past to actually talk about the grandma's relationship that the book is centered around. So now I'm
giving
okay.
11 Other Words vibes from how you're saying stuff.
So the past is talking about the grandma in the past. So it's different characters.
Okay.
So in that sense, not really.
So actually you're wrong is what you're saying.
But I'm enjoying it so far. So I will plan on continuing to read that.
In fun news, I follow a Bookstagrammer who reads and posts reviews and stuff, and she gets arcs and stuff. She just posted her review of Great Big Beautiful Life, and I think she got 4 stars. So 4 on the spice scale, which surprised me, because she does a 5-level spice scale. Okay. So it's kind of a lot, I feel for Emily Henry.
Yeah.
And then she always does similar titles, and she compared it to Seven Husbands meets Book Lovers, and that is exactly what I am envisioning this book being, and I'm very excited about it. So,
yeah. And Ciera needs to read Say You'll Remember Me Next, because that's our book club pick for this month.
That I plan to finish The Gilded Cage some point this week, and then I'll have 1 week or so to finish Say You'll Remember Me, and then we'll do our little book club episode.
If you guys are in virtual book club and you haven't started that book yet, get to reading.
I was at Target, and I saw Wild and Wrangled was out. I didn't get it, though, because I was going to get Fearless, too, but they didn't have Fearless out. So
I know, Wild and Wrangled, that was actually going to be the next book that I read, but I obviously, I didn't have it, so I picked a different book. And I was I have the physical copy of the one I'm reading now, because I bought that for vacation thinking I'd read that on vacation. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited.
That kind of surprises me that you bought it.
When I was at Target, there weren't a lot of covers that I thought were cute that like were books that I wanted to read. And granted, that cover wasn't really like what I was
I was
going
like, that
for,
cover's that cute.
but like there just
ugly.
weren't options that I was interested in. And I've liked, I've read a couple of Rebecca Yaros's like more contemporary fiction.
Contemporary romance.
That's what I meant. And so I just knew this was probably gonna be like a safe category. And like I know of other people who have given good reviews to this book. So
I need to kick up my reading.
Weekly Spotlight. We didn't even do that.
Oh, what's your weekly?
To be
spotlight?
honest, I don't know.
was gonna do Easter.
I'm honestly like, so I'm gonna say I slept like 10 hours Friday to Saturday night. So that was I just felt like I needed that a little bit. And I will say a low light that I'm experiencing still is just like my continued allergies. I swear I'm breaking out in hives. So like, I don't know if I need to go to a dermatologist, but I'm feeling kind of on the low right now.
Could be feeling.
I've got like I'm wearing my glasses like until this gets better because at work otherwise you literally like I feel like you can only see how bad my eyes look. So I wore these all day to help disguise that a little bit.
Was anyone
no
like, oh, you're wearing glasses?
No, because I actually sometimes like just depending on the day, like sometimes I do end up like I'll be doing computer work and then I end up like leaving them on. So it's not like rare for me to be wearing glasses.
You know what's funny? So every once in a while on like let's say like day 3 hair or something, when I'm like I need to shower, I'll like put my hair up in that like high half bun thing that I do sometimes. And like weirdly enough, that is the only time anyone ever compliments my hair. Like not that I would expect a ton of compliments when I'm just wearing it down, because like I think it looks good because I styled it. You know,
but
whatever.
like they don't know.
But like they, you know, don't know what my natural hair looks like. Not that my natural hair is super bad, but like that's like every time I wear it up, someone compliments.
I think it's just
me.
because it's like different, you know, and people notice when things are different.
So I'm just like, oh, thank you. I guess I should just wear my hair like this or something. So
okay,
I think that's all
Who
I
wants
got
to
for
start?
little updates. I can start with one. So first one I have.
some of mine I did read most of these, but like I'm just kind of like some of them are weird. I'm just gonna like say that.
Okay.
Just the fact that that happened is weird.
Okay. I installed a lockbox for my cheese, and now my roommate says I'm, quote, creating division in the house, unquote. Am I overreacting? Okay.
I feel like they're missing a why. Do they provide a why?
I have to read the whole
Oh,
thing.
okay. Sorry.
I have a whole thing to read. That was just the title.
Sorry, I thought you were... Anyways.
Okay. So this might sound insane, but hear me out. I, 24 male, live with 2 29 male, 28 female roommates. One of them, 29 male, is fine. The other one, 28 female, is a fridge pyro with sticky fingers and zero shame. I don't even think she likes half the stuff she steals. She just eats it because it's there. The final straw was my cheese. My mother brings me cheese from my home country every time she visits that I can't buy here. I had it hidden behind the milk for safekeeping, but I opened the fridge yesterday and it was gone. She said, oh, I didn't think it was a big deal. It's just cheese. And then it's like 5 question marks. No, it's not just cheese. That cheese was the only joy I had left this week. So I snapped. I went full chaos. I bought a small fridge lockbox. Yep, a plastic safe that goes inside the fridge. Combo lock and everything. Put my cheese, my fancy yogurt, my cold brew, and my chocolate in there. Labeled it unauthorized entry. Will be considered an act of war. She saw it and says I'm, quote, creating division in the house and being, quote, hostile and passive aggressive. Am I, or is this what happens when you push a peaceful person to the brink over dairy? Because honestly, I'm about 3 bites away from putting air tags in my hummus. And then I have a couple updates, but we'll leave it there.
So, living with roommates is a tricky situation. I know that he's implying there is a history of, like, her doing this, but he didn't really imply a history of, like, any correction or discussion prior to this taking place. So I'm kind of wondering... He didn't say, like, this could have been, like, this has happened multiple times and she's not getting any better, in which case, like, I can see the frustration. But if, let's say, that hadn't really been taking place and he's just kind of the mindset, like, you shouldn't be doing this if it's not your food, and then he just goes straight to, I'm locking all of my food up in this safe, I could see that being, like, a little just, like, passive-aggressive and or, like, I'd be like, that's not really necessary.
Yeah. I could say, like, let's say you're, like, the girl... and you're her friend, or like let's say you're a friend of the girl and she's telling a story from her side, I feel like she'd be able to like warp it in a way where it's like, isn't that crazy, to be like, yeah, that was a little bit overkill. So I think that what you said is correct. It didn't sound like he had said like, hey, stop eating my stuff, or like, I've labeled this with my name, stop eating it. If it's not yours, don't eat it. Again, if you have done that, then like the box, you know, fine, Sure.
Like, whatever. It's your box.
And even now, like, obviously, you do what you want. I could do that with Megan right now, and, like, who's she to say that I can't, you know? Overreacting? Possibly. Like, I think you could have tried a few things. Maybe not invested so much in the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much those little trinkets and stuff cost you. Probably not too much, but...
Like, you could
like
probably get,
something.
like, a cheapish one. I don't know.
But assuming you didn't do the other stuff mentioned, overreacting, if you did, maybe not, is where we land. But I totally relate to, like, that, like, the last joy of the
like,
week.
If you've just, like, had a week or a day, and it's, like...
You're like, at least I've got this, and then you don't have that, oh my god, that, like, sends you over the edge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Am I overreacting for not wanting to move forward with my new therapist? Seems like she blew me off. So based on our texts over the weekend, I thought it was pretty clear we established our first call for today at around 12. I went on lunch at 11:55 so I could be available for this call. Would you be okay with this response from a therapist you've never spoken to before? Am I overreacting for not even wanting to meet with her anymore? Should I give her another chance and reschedule? So here's the text message. This is Friday evening. Says, I'm available anytime after 5 if that works for you.
Is that the
this is
therapist or them?
So, let me go back. The first text is from the therapist. It's kind of cut off, but it says, I can see about a phone call on Monday, and that's a question. So, it seems like they're trying to schedule a call for Monday. Now, the poster of this and the patient, she has said, I'm available anytime after 5 if that works for you. Then the therapist says, dang, of course I have people 5 to 9, lol. What about Tuesday at 11:30 or Wednesday at 7:30? Then back to the patient. Haha, how about between 12 and 2 on Monday or Tuesday? I usually take my lunch break around that time. If not, I'll make time for 11:30 on Tuesday. Then this is the therapist again. Okay, I'll call you around, they said 13 Monday, but then they said 12 to an arrow pointing up because they meant 12. Then the person says, sounds good. Talk to you then. This is Saturday night that this has been supposedly confirmed.
Are they the same time zone?
Yes, you'll see in a second. So then at 12:25, so obviously this is a half hour after she's kind of anticipating the call. She says, hi, Dr. Blank. Just confirming we're still on for our call today. Then they said, yes, I am at a bridal shower and hoping to be able to call at 1:40. Is that still okay?
Still okay. That was never okay.
Right? I'm just kind of like, what happened? The texts are all right there. And very clearly, you've agreed. The therapists themselves said 12 Monday. That was typed by their own two thumbs.
And then corrected. Right.
And yeah. And then, sounds good. Talk to you then. And they didn't like text a follow-up of being like, hey, I forgot about this, or I need to reschedule. So that would certainly rub me the wrong way.
Unprofessional of the therapist for sure. I don't know how much work you put into like finding and seeking out and vetting this therapist ahead of time, where it's like, would it be annoying for you to then go and do that with another person if you don't feel inclined to continue meeting with them, or you never even started? But I would say, like,
it's also just like not very professional.
Yeah. So are you overreacting by not wanting to meet with them? I don't think so. I mean, assuming you're going to want to be doing this on like a semi-regular basis, whether that's weekly or whatever, I could see this being an issue like consistently of like, hey, when works for you, blah, 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 and then like getting like pushed under the rug of like, you're waiting again.
Right. Yeah.
And then like you spend more time waiting for therapy than like actually getting therapy.
A lot of people in the comments are just kind of like saying how it's unprofessional. And then also, I mean, it's an interesting thought. Because this is like they're happening, or like this is happening over text, so some people are kind of like, that's strange that like you're texting back and forth, but then some people are also saying like my therapist has like a work cell phone that I can text, like, and they only respond during certain times.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I can't really speak to that, but
not overreacting for this one. Next one I have is, am I overreacting to the text my 25-year-old coworker sent me? For context, I, less than 18-year-old female, started my job about 5 months ago. Every Saturday, my coworker, 25 male, comes in and will make comments like, your smile is so pretty, and your laugh is so cute, which is normal compliments and everything, and was fine until 3 months ago. She had asked me for my phone number, and I gave it to her.
Is this a male or female coworker?
Did I say 25 female or male? It's
male.
Female. Okay, so they're both women. Where was I? So she gave that coworker asked for her phone number. She gave it to her. I didn't know her age at the time, and she looks quite young and talks like a teen. Super quickly, she started blowing up my phone if I wouldn't answer fast enough within minutes. The whole thing just gave me a weird vibe, especially when I found out her age. The next time I saw her, I wanted to express this and told her, "You're super sweet, but you're 25 and I'm blank. I don't feel like it would be appropriate to keep talking outside of work. It's not personal. I just don't feel comfortable with that." She seemed to understand and stopped texting until the other day I went home sick, and she decided to use this as her way to begin texting me again. The last message is what really gave me red flags. What do you think I should do? So then she sent a screenshot. It's from her coworker that says, "Hope you feel better soon." She said, "Thank you." And then her coworker said, "You're welcome." And another text, "I hope you'll be able to be here next Saturday." And then another text, "I'm on break now." And then another text, "What time do you want me to text you at?" And then another text, "Anyway, I hope you have a good weekend. Bye." Then it's another day. "Hey, can I ask you something? I just want to know if you were ever seen the Scene About Wednesday."
Show.
I don't know. I think there's a typo
Show
there.
Wednesday. Already read this.
Oh, okay. If you've seen the show Wednesday. Gotcha. I'm off now. And then there's more text. What are you doing for Easter? Happy Easter. Hope you're feeling better today.
It means
Sorry
you're
for
all
blowing
like
up
no
your phone.
response,
I just missed you.
right?
Yes. And the original poster has not responded once except for the initial thank you, which honestly is impressive. Like, you know, I don't think I would have been that strong initially. Like, I would have like slow faded, but the just thank you, and then she's like, "I ain't responding." Like, good for you.
Is it wrong of me to question if this person is like neurodivergent and like does not fully understand like social cues
Honestly,
and etiquette?
that's what I was wondering,
because that's what I'm leaning towards. Because like that's
then that would also like play into potentially like if you think that they were like acting a little bit younger, like obviously not every neurodivergent person acts younger, but some people do, and like it plays into how their neurodivergency presents.
And it could just be like, even though you did say you kind of wanted to set some boundaries, it could be that they still feel like you're like a safe person for them and they like interacting with you, and so they might just
be reaching
want to
out
continue.
for.
I'm not saying that it's like, you know, if you feel uncomfortable, you feel uncomfortable, but that's just kind of like what I'm trying to use to like logic my way through this. Mm-hmm. That's really the only thing I can think of that makes sense.
Yeah,
because otherwise to me it's just very clearly violating like a social norm.
Yeah, and like you guys are just coworkers. You're not obligated to be friends outside of work. You're not obligated to communicate outside of work. And so again, it sounds like this person's like nice to you. You're nice to them. Obviously they like you. That's why they're texting you. I would try to like either in person or over text like reiterate that boundary of like, "Hey, you know, it's great talking to you at work, but like outside of work I don't really like to keep in touch with coworkers." If you can like play that card.
Set it like as like a personal and work boundary.
Yeah. As long as you're not like besties with your 3 other coworkers, then like that wouldn't work otherwise. But yeah, I think I would be like annoyed at this point as well.
Me too.
But
so I would try to reestablish the boundary.
Yeah, it needs to be re-communicated.
This is the main one where I was like, this can't be real, but of course it is. That's what always shocks me with these. Okay. Am I overreacting for ignoring my boyfriend after inappropriate comments about my new purse? Okay. I, 24-year-old female, haven't been able to respond to my boyfriend's, and there's a lot of text, so like it's gonna get to a certain point where like we'll gonna
just call it good.
Okay. I haven't been able to, or I haven't responded to my boyfriend 23 male texts for hours because I have no words. I sent him a photo of coffee and my fake Dior bag was in it. I got it for free as part of a brand deal and started using it today. I'm desperately trying to understand, but at the same time, I know, I was like, that doesn't make sense. What brand deal did you get?
A fake Dior bag.
Like DHL? I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm genuinely appalled at this, and I need to know what other people think. How would you respond in this situation, or what would you do? Just the way this guy like communicates, it's already like red flag times 10 for me. So like I'm just saying that going in. So she sent the photo of the coffee. Her purse happens to be in it. Oh my God, the horrors. That bag, I can't. These are multiple texts. I tried to escape to the other phone. I don't know what that means, okay? Then there's an invisible ink text that I can't read. When I was on a date with that girl, I don't know what girl, we were talking about what's the female equivalent of guys wearing those Balenciaga logo sneakers, and she said that exact Dior bag.
How does he know different types of Dior bags?
Then he says, get rid of it, I'll kill myself. Then she says, I like it, with like a frowny face.
I already know the types of people. I know these people.
He says again, throw it away. She says, I've literally been so excited about it today. Then he says to throw it off a bridge and hope it lands on a boat that's on fire. Give it to a homeless person. Then she just says, yuck. And then he says, donate it to Goodwill. You guys get the point. This guy, hold on, like, one more thing. Because then, like, this is the kind of tangent he goes on. Hold on, I need to go back. Jokes aside, a very strong boundary for me are pretentious displays of wealth. And she said, wouldn't a real one be a display of wealth? And then, this is an indisputable hard boundary I refuse to cross. Then it just keeps going back and forth, back and forth.
That last
and then eventually gets to a point where, like, he's just texting all himself and she's not responding. I just was like, this is a real person?
That last text, honestly, was, like, the one, at least he was, like, verbalizing and,
like an actual thought of, like, what bothers him about it.
Because, like, that makes sense. It turns a lot of people off to, like, see other people with designer items.
But, like, that's not how you communicate, though. Like, the precursor stuff and then the stuff that, like, I didn't read the entire conversation after, but just, like, it's him going. And me personally, like, this is one of those things where it's like, I hate to be the person that says, like, get out while you can, break up with him.
But you can already tell, like, this type of couple is, like, one of those, like, ooh-woo couples. Like, do you know what I mean?
Ooh-woo? What does that mean?
Like, U-W-U. Like a MySpace kind of energy.
I've never heard that term before.
I'm pretty sure I've told it to you whether or not I was on the podcast.
I think you're right. But I don't, like, I what? Still don't remember what.
I wonder, do you think if I looked up ooh-woo couple, something would pop up?
Did you make this term up or
no?
Okay,
I did not make that up. Like, I feel like these types of people, like, find each other and they need each other. So, like, that communication style, while it doesn't make sense for us, it makes sense to them, you know?
An ooh-woo couple.
Does that do anything for you? Okay. If you guys want context, you can go ahead and Google ooh-woo couple yourself. So, yeah. Oh, no, did I just close out of mine on accident? Is she overreacting for not responding?
No.
I mean, I think that at some point you need to presumably communicate with him again.
I'm just like, I'm on her side because I don't like how the guy was texting or communicating.
Yeah. I also, like, again, I just don't like the vibes of the couple, so it's hard for me to
give good, meaningful advice.
Yeah. I think that you guys need to just have more, like, a more concrete discussion about, like, he has, like, an actual thought of, you know, his issue and with if there's, like, of wealth.
If you're, like, you may have these thoughts, but, like, don't communicate like that to me. That was disrespectful.
Or say, like, hey, let's maybe call each other next time. Like, we can actually have a discussion instead of you sending, like, 3 texts that make no sense. And I would love to hear more about your partnership because that's confusing to me about getting a free fake Dior bag. For what? What are you promoting? Send me a message. Okay. Next one I have. Tattoo fiasco. Am I overreacting? My husband, 35, of 10 years, got a tattoo without telling me. For some backstory, he had 2 smallish tattoos when we met, which I feel neutral about, but he knows very well that as a general rule, I have a strong dislike for tattoos. For our 10-year anniversary, he surprised me with a large tattoo on his arm. It's an artistic tattoo that symbolizes me and his love for me. When he revealed it to me the same day, I felt shocked and, well, horrified. I cried a lot and said it was disrespectful to get one without first warning me and without getting my opinion on size, placement, etc. I also said he knows I don't like tattoos, so how could it be, quote, for me? He said it was just a bold, creative expression of his love and that it's romantic. He says it's no big deal, and I overreacted. I can see he is hurt, but was I wrong to be upset?
This honestly, like, this is an interesting one. Because, like, first and foremost, like, the guy has every right to get whatever tattoo he wants on his body. Like, that's totally up to him. But I can see the wife's, like, mortification a little bit and why she's feeling the way she is. And it's one of those things where I kind of feel like you can't help how you react in said situation, and you kind of just have to like there's no
you
going
can take
back.
a step back.
You need to
say,
sit with it now.
I'm sorry, or whatever your decision of like, okay, did I overreact? And if you did, then you can go in, with the apology. I do think I agree with you. Like, obviously, it's his body; he can get tattooed whatever he wants. I feel like it's typically normal though for a couple, like if whether one person's doing like anything drastic, like they talk about it. But I also understand like he might have done it like quite literally as a surprise, and so like therefore he wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he like talked about getting a tattoo with you recently. Like, was that mentioned at all? Like, in like the near future, I plan on getting a tattoo. Obviously, like depending on how good or bad it looked, like that would sway your opinion.
Like, here's kind of what I'm thinking of. Our dad for the longest time was like talking about like he was gonna get a tattoo, and initially it was just going to be like an Iowa Tiger Hawk, like the logo that was gonna be his tattoo, and like this had been like years upon years and like just discussion mode,
and that was the only thing he ever talked about getting.
It was the only thing he ever talked about, and like me, Ciera, and Haley, like we were the ones who would talk about, like he would tell us like that was his plan. We'd be like, okay, awesome, like we love the Hawks. That's kind of like our group chat is like literally go Hawks. That's just like okay,
and like it's relatively common for like
to people get sports
people get
team tattoos.
Tiger Hawk tattoos.
So that was all good and fine. And then when it came down to like, okay, he was actually like getting ready to like schedule the appointment, he started really like going like he all of a sudden like he was like, if I'm getting a tattoo, like I want it to have all sorts of meaning. And so he was explaining to us how he wanted us to be included in it, like in some way, shape, or form. And if my dad listens to this, like I wouldn't consider him a super religious person, but like he's religious enough. He wanted to have a cross in it. Okay, whatever, if that speaks to you. And then again, like the Tiger Hawk, he was like, let's do that as well. And so he's trying to explain like his thought on like what this conglomeration of like, because he doesn't want multiple tattoos. He wants this all married into one.
And like it's also
tattoo.
like literally fitting on like the back of his shoulder.
Yeah. And he would have some ideas, and I can't help. First of all, he's asking for our input. I also can't help but like I'm trying to steer him in the right direction, because some of the ideas he had that he was sharing, I was like, that's going to look horrendous and it's not going to look good. He has the tattoo now. He ditched the Tiger Hawk completely, and it just is like a cross with like our initials and like
keep
birthdays on it.
After
Henry
Henry was born though, he was like, no, I need to incorporate. Henry was like, Dad,
stop.
You don't know how many grandkids you're going to have. Like, don't, at least not now. Like, don't add to it. Just wait. And he hasn't.
In that sense, like I'm just kind of throwing the story in to say like loved ones probably are going to have like strong opinions on like what they think will and won't look good. You can care or not care
because they care about you.
Yeah,
they want you to have a good tattoo if you're gonna get one. So is she overreacting? And like, when you hear like her claim of being like, I don't even like tattoos, like that's not an expression. Here's what I think. As I ask your
Go
opinion
for it.
and I don't let you answer. Do you have an answer?
go ahead.
Like, he said it's his expression of his love for you. Okay, he likes tattoos, so he wants to get something meaningful for him, and his love for you is meaningful. That is sweet. Like, objectively, that's a nice gesture. Is that how you would have wanted him to express his love?
Love languages.
Maybe not. But like, there are a million other ways that he can and probably will express his love. But like, that's something he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I hope it looks good. Hopefully, you can also like think it objectively looks good.
I do think like there might have been the initial shock, but I do think after the fact, like you certainly need to kind of be like, I'm sorry I reacted that way. I understand you like meant well by getting this for me.
Yeah. It's if you like really, if it boils down to you're mad that your boyfriend got a tattoo about how much he loves you, like that's
there are worse
fight,
problems.
So take a step back.
Did you just listen to what we just talked about?
Right.
Okay.
It's your turn for the next one.
Okay. Next one. Am I overreacting? My kids and I were excluded from family lunch. My mother-in-law was hosting Easter lunch at her house, as it was a nice day. She planned a barbecue and for the gathering to be outside. It was only a small family gathering. When we arrived, myself, my husband, my young daughter, and my 9-month-old son, my brother-in-law says to me, just so you know, my wife is bringing our dog. FYI, it's a fully grown husky, and the dog isn't great with kids, or isn't great around babies. It gets jealous. It's not safe. He's saying that, okay? I automatically think, then why would you bring the dog when you know I'm bringing my baby? I said we will keep our distance. I'm inside when my sister-in-law proceeds to turn up with the dog on a lead and sees me holding my baby and says, "Oh, I see you have the baby. I'm heading straight outside. He's not good with babies." Again, why bring the dog when you know I'm not leaving my baby at home? Lunch is ready. I look outside and the dog is off lead. I actually thought everyone would come inside given the situation. They all proceeded to eat lunch and exclude myself and my children. My husband was in and out to check on us, but the rest of the family remained outside. I could not believe we got excluded over a dog. I didn't bother saying anything because I didn't want to cause an argument, and I really thought it was so obvious I shouldn't need to say leave the dog at home or put it in the garage so myself and the kids can join in for lunch. Am I overreacting?
Here is my thought.
I had a thought too.
Perhaps it's just a nice day outside and people are not thinking about the fact that the dog is outside and they're like, I was outside. It's nice out. I want to eat outside.
I also kind of thought people, unfortunately, probably just like didn't think about it. They also like they probably don't know they're not coming outside because of the dog. Like I kind of doubt that was communicated. I don't know how many people are there. Okay. But I'm guessing like they probably are thinking, I'm not sure why she's inside. It's a nice, lovely day out.
Maybe they're like, oh, maybe babies, shouldn't be out in the sun. I don't know.
Like they probably aren't thinking about why you're not outside. So,
yeah.
If there was no one else and it's just like the mom and then like her brother and like his wife and the dog, I don't know. Like they were probably like, I'm not going to leave my dog. I don't know why they brought the dog. Okay. So first and foremost, they probably just should not have brought the dog, but like they're not going to leave their dog outside by themselves. So it was kind of more so than like just the mom deciding where to hang out at. I don't think there's as much. Well, I don't think there was any malice involved, okay? I also just don't think there was as much, like, thought to where people were eating.
And almost in some ways, this is the wrong thread because you didn't react really, like, at all. Like, you didn't communicate anything to anyone.
True.
And so, like, are you overreacting? You didn't do anything. So, no.
So, you actually don't belong on this subreddit.
Because you literally said, like, I should go without saying or something with that effect. Again, I think that in some of these situations, like Meg and I were just saying, I don't think anyone was thinking literally anything. So then how are people supposed to read your mind and like know what you're thinking about the dog versus people like picking the dog over you? Like that's not what they're doing. And then like this can be then a conversation for the future, assuming you guys have other events and gatherings and stuff of how can you prevent this from happening again? Whether it's the dog doesn't come
or it could have been like, could you have stepped out or asked your husband, can you like tell them to put the dog on a leash and then I can come outside?
Something,
like
anything.
There could have been
a compromise
or a discussion at least.
Or like certainly if not this time, then for next time, can they bring the dog's crate so that like if the dog has to be crated for a little bit, like while you're outside with the baby, there has to be an answer. I'm certain of it, of how you guys can all come together.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any like comments on that one? I'm curious if anyone had similar thoughts to us.
Not overreacting. Aunt on husband's side brought a dog to a family gathering when our children were small, kept warning us the dog wasn't good around strangers or children. In my head, I'm like, why'd you bring it? Thankfully, she held the dog. It was small the whole time, and we kept our children away. Let's see. Not overreacting, knowingly bringing a dog that they know is not good around children, and then proceeding to allow it off leash and preventing the children and yourself sucks. A lot of people are agreeing, like, it's rude. Like, I don't know why they brought the dog, but I also, like, I do stand firm on the fact that, like, I'm sure something could have been done. Because, like, they did bring the dog, so.
Okay. Next one I have is, am I overreacting? My boyfriend wants to let his dad stay at our apartment while we're gone. My boyfriend recently offered for his dad to stay in our apartment over a weekend where we'll both be away. He didn't ask me first, so the whole thing caught me off guard. For context, we live in a small one-bedroom apartment. His dad would typically have a place to stay when he comes to the area, but for that one weekend, if he still wanted to come visit the city, he wouldn't be able to use his typical accommodation. He is coming to the area out of leisure and is no way required to be there that weekend or anything. This is when my boyfriend offered our apartment. I generally do not like for anyone to stay in my space when I'm away, but my boyfriend doesn't care as much. I feel like it's a bit of an invasion of privacy for his dad to stay here while we're gone. His dad is great, and I feel silly after he has been generous with hosting us at his house, but this feels different as he'd stay in our bed, and our apartment is very small. Am I overreacting to not want him staying here while we're gone? I'd like to come back to my apartment as I left it and feel like this is a boundary I should be able to set.
I think she is overreacting a little bit.
I think so too.
Which is the first, because usually people aren't overreacting in these threads.
Here's the thing. I understand privacy. Like, people get so caught up in, like, people sleeping in other people's beds, and I'm like, you wash your bedding. Wash it before he gets there. Right? And then when he leaves, wash it again, and it's brand new. As far as, like, privacy, if you have things that you would not like him to discover or see, put those away somewhere. Bring them with you, if able. I don't know. I don't know what you need to hide. I feel like it's very, like, normal for his son to have offered a place to stay if you guys are not going to be there.
I'm kind of like, even if it's not your favorite thing ever, like, I don't think you have any good reason to, like, say no or refuse.
Yeah.
Especially if this isn't, like, you just said yourself, this isn't typical. He usually has his own accommodation that he is able to stay at. It's not seeming like this is going to be the norm.
And presumably if he's coming to town for leisure, he's, like, going there to do something. So he's most likely only using your apartment to sleep and then go out and do what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, could it be annoying that your boyfriend just, like, offered without asking? Sure. But, like, I feel like just let it go.
This isn't the hill to die on.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't read this one through, so hopefully it's a good one.
Bear with us.
My wife went out to lunch with a guy she met at the gym. I think this is a huge no-no. Am I overreacting? My 39 male, wife 39 female, and I have been together for 14 years, married for 11. I've been cheated on in the past several times, so I'm very sensitive to any behavior that could be construed that way. I don't think based on what small thing I did read later, I don't think, like, by her. My wife goes to the same gym 5 days a week and is always there when they open at 5 a.m. It's a serious thing for her. I personally go 3 days a week, but a different gym. Needless to say,
that's weird.
Needless to say, conversations have been struck up with her by various people for the last 5 years or so. One guy in particular, who is divorced and 15 years older, started being friendly to her a while back. Not sure how long exactly. A conversation arose about a good lunch special at a steakhouse in town, and it became an ongoing thing. You gotta try this pork chop, etc. Well, on Friday afternoon, she went to lunch with this gentleman, and then when she came home, she mentioned that her leftovers were from this place and that she went with a friend. Never said anything about a work friend, so I pressed a bit more for curiosity's sake. She told me what happened and swore up and down nothing happened and she's not interested in that way. I will say our marriage has had its ups and downs, but the ups were always way higher than the downs. My wife has given me zero reason in 14 years not to trust her. However, the circumstances are quite suspect. What does everyone think? There are a couple edits.
Okay. My initial thought is that this is inappropriate. Like, and I'm all for, like, I do believe, like, men and women can be friends, but, like, the proposition of, like, this does come off very, like, date-like. So I would have said, like, you know, either inviting, if he has a partner and, you know, you obviously, like, are married, like, inviting your significant others. But, like, it's different when, like, it's a group setting or, like, they're already out and about and, like, hey, let's just pop over to
or, like,
lunch.
you're not acquaintances, really. Like, you don't see each other outside of the gym. Like, this is purely a gym acquaintance. So it is a little bit strange to, like, go from there to being like,
or, like, has your husband,
single...
like, they haven't met clearly. Like, I feel like at least if they would have met first and, like, established, okay, so-and-so, this is my husband, whoever. And then, like, if you say, oh, remember so-and-so when I had you guys meet wherever, like, we're going to lunch, you know, I feel like that would have made more sense.
Here's an edit. We have had a lengthy discussion about all of this. She didn't necessarily hide it from me, and I didn't have to prod her much at all for her to tell me it was a man.
I don't think she's hiding anything.
She's known him for 2 years in passing, and they talk occasionally. She's never given me a reason to think she's cheated. This just seemed very suspect. She apologized a lot for forgetting to tell me she was going to do this. She is very scatterbrained and forgetful, so it is not out of the ordinary. That's all we have.
I think that she should have asked at least before. Like, hey, so-and-so asked me to get lunch. Like, how'd you feel about that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying if my boyfriend went to lunch with someone, like a girl he met at the gym, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I would not be okay with that.
Okay.
Like, oh, we're friends. I'd be like,
since
I'm
when?
actually not okay with that. So, putting myself in his shoes. Okay. Next one. Am I overreacting or is my partner having the lamest emotional affair ever? I like how they qualified that. Honestly, I know the answer, but maybe if this lands on the front page, he'll realize he's risking our relationship for such a stupid reason. Oh, she's hoping that he's scouring Reddit. My boyfriend, 35 male, and I, 36 female, live together in his house that he owns. We've been seeing each other on and off for about 3 years or so. I moved in after a fire at my apartment made it unlivable. He and I don't work 9 to 5s, so we don't always have schedules that line up. We try to carve out 2 to 3 nights a week where we spend intentional time together. Often on those nights, he is texting other people, including his work friend, a woman who has previously indicated she's had feelings for him. I don't really worry about her as someone he would like to be with for a variety of reasons. She has a special needs kid with a lot of complications, while he and I are both firmly anti-marriage and child-free, convicted in our choices, independent of one another. She's thin, he prefers bigger women, general lifestyle choices that I know conflict between the two of them. I am particularly bothered by their dynamic, though, because, and she has an outline with bullet points.
Okay.
1. I have never met her, talked to her, am not connected to her on social media. 2. She makes custom art for him and brings him gifts, specifically things for him, not us, our home, or for our cats. 3. She's constantly asking him for dating advice. 4. He has tried to build bridges between her and I by saying she can help me with art projects because, you know, she's better and I don't want to improve and grow, ? I'm not sure how she worded that. Whatever am I on? 5. He recognizes his lack of transparency with their connection and reinforces my insecurities but has yet to correct his actions. 6. In the past, he has had inappropriate conversations with women, causing us to break up for a time. We discussed this pretty candidly a week ago, and he seemed to understand how effed up he was acting, but since then, nothing has changed. I don't know if they had a conversation about setting boundaries because he never shares details with me. I obviously still haven't met her. She hasn't reached out to me on social media. Yesterday on Easter, while we were drinking and spending time with family, he was texting her. I'm 99% sure they were having the most banal conversation about dating advice, but how does he not see how disrespectful this is? Am I crazy? Is he not clearly prioritizing this friendship over our life together? Whew.
I would have an issue with that. I think, like, from, like, what I'm envisioning is, like, she needs to find someone else to, like, be the person she's reaching out to, because I don't think it's appropriate for her to keep reaching out to him. Not that he's not pushing it away or saying, like, stop coming to me for this stuff, but yeah.
Do you think that he's emotionally cheating on her?
I feel like he's just being disrespectful, because I don't necessarily think that, like, if the conversations, and, like, not that she's seeing exactly what their conversations are, but she's implying, like, she doesn't see really them going together anyways, and she doesn't think the conversations are particularly, like, flirty or crossing that boundary. But I feel like it's still just disrespectful to be purposefully doing something you know that your girlfriend doesn't like, and that attention is taking away from time that you guys are able to spend together and be intentional with.
It's just a side note. Stop dissing on this girl so much when your boyfriend is the one doing all this. She's like, he doesn't even like her, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's the one texting her.
Yeah.
After you've repeatedly said that you don't like him doing that. Again, without any context of what they're talking about, do we know if they're, like, if he's emotionally cheating on you? We don't know. But he is clearly repeatedly breaking a boundary that you've tried to set. And so that is an issue that you guys need to resolve. And perhaps his work friend or whoever, I don't even know what their relationship was, she needs to find a different person to, like, unload her mental energy onto. Because she's probably just, like, using him as that, like, a sounding board.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is kind of long. Oh my god, I didn't read this beforehand. I'm going to my other one next.
Abort.
Okay. Am I overreacting for thinking about breaking up with my boyfriend over this? I, female 18, went on a night out with my boyfriend, who I've been with for 2 months. We went to a bar/club near the 1 to 2 a.m. Everyone was getting really hyper, and then, boom, Proud Mary went on. This is a song, I'm guessing, but I'm unsure of the song. I ended up on this platform thingy. It wasn't even a table, and these 2 other girls and 1 guy joined me, and everyone was just enjoying themselves. I got this message from my boyfriend this morning, and it's really annoyed me. I don't want someone that will bring me down because I'm a very hyper and social person, but I seriously like him. What do I do? Would I be overreacting if I broke up with him? So she texted him, where did you go? He said, I went for some fresh air. She said, are you feeling sickly after last night? He said, no, but I'm guessing you are. And then he was like, what you pulled last night was embarrassing. Then she said,
no.
What did I do? You know what you did. You got on that table and started dancing. And then she said, because Proud Mary was on? Question mark, question mark. And she said, everyone was loving it, and you saw those two girls that got on the table with me. And then he said, made me want to sink into the floor. And then she said, stop raining on my parade. Everyone was enjoying themselves. I even got a free drink from the staff for my amazing dance skills. And then he says, I don't enjoy when you get wild. And then she said, well, thank God you haven't seen me on a girls' night out. You would faint and die. He says, I like enjoying my drink without risk of concussion. And then she says, come on, everyone was going wild last night. It wasn't just me. He said, and then she said, no need to be embarrassed. He said, knock it off. I don't need a circus act. And then she said, okay. And that's all.
That was a rude response. I think. Are you overreacting if you break up with him? I don't know how long you guys been together. I say no. If you want to break up with him,
I think only 2 months. So it's like it
you
really.
break up with him.
2 months.
Like
this is the kind of thing where like you're figuring out.
You're testing the waters.
Like what are each other's boundaries, and do the boundaries match or not, or are we figuring out like there's just like some differences there, and I think you're well within.
Like there's a grace period when you first start dating someone where it's like if you break up within the first 3 months, I feel like it's like. Okay, like they were
no harm, no
testing
foul.
things out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, if you don't want to break up, perhaps you just don't go out together. Like, I think that the embarrassment for him lies, like, he doesn't want to be there. You know what I mean? So, like, maybe it doesn't sound like he enjoys going out that much. Maybe don't go out together.
Yeah, that could be a solution.
But again,
I also like how he spoke, too. It's kind of like,
yeah, that was rude.
I don't like that.
Okay. Next one I have was actually another dog-related one. Am I overreacting by not letting my son go to his best friend's house anymore because of their dog? My son, 12, has a best friend he's really close to, and he spends the night at their house fairly often. Recently, during a casual conversation, the friend's mom told me something that really alarmed me. She said that their dog, her husband's dog, has bitten multiple children. One of the bites was bad enough that the child needed stitches on their face. She followed that up by saying, but don't worry, he loves your son. They even sleep on the couch together when he stays over. That immediately made my stomach turn. I am not going to name the breed, but this is a large dog that could absolutely kill or seriously injure a child if it snapped. The fact that it's already bitten more than one kid and that one of those bites was to the face was more than enough for me. I told my son that he's no longer allowed to go over there, period. He thinks I'm being completely unfair and insists the dog is sweet to him and that he's not in any danger. I get that he doesn't understand the risk, and I'm not trying to punish him, but I can't in good conscience let him keep going over there knowing what I know now. Am I overreacting?
I don't think you're overreacting. And I think, like, unfortunately, it's not something your son's going to get because he doesn't understand, like, the gravity of, like, what could happen. But I think that you're completely in the right.
It's always, like, the odds of the dog attack him, low.
I'm also kind of surprised that with a history of multiple bites to different children that like, they're allowed to have the dog still. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
But, like, it's always the thing that would be in the back of your mind. If something did happen, you would be like, why did I let him keep going over there when I literally knew? Mm-hmm. And, like, you're not cutting him off from that friend. Like, the friend can still come over to your house, I'm guessing, and, like, sleep over at your house.
But, like, you don't know and you can't control, like, what it is that they're doing at the friend's house. So, like, even if it was, oh, like, we'll put the dog in the crate, like, when he's here, like, you don't know if they actually would or how much they would, you know, keep the dog out of the way.
So, not overreacting. Especially, like, you know, we have a dog. I love dogs generally with my whole heart. But, like, sometimes dogs snap and you have no idea why.
Right.
And so, like, if a dog has a history, like, you have to use that information.
I honestly feel like
that's all I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I crossed one. I accidentally X'd out of my tab, so I'm sorry if it was a good one. But
the other ones that I haven't read all the way through, and, like, they're ridiculously long. So I think that we call it.
Okay. Well, this was a fun episode, I thought.
We might have to pull this one back out.
Let us know if you guys would like to see future episodes of us going through this subreddit. Let us know your own thoughts if you feel like you had different opinions or if you had the same opinions as us. We have an episode post that goes up with every single episode, so you can find us on Instagram at according2 and share your thoughts there. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can leave a comment and tell us your thoughts down below.
Otherwise, we will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.